There were a few years where it's actually very hard to find cels from those years. Oompa Loompa Cam. There are plenty of families and workers inside Disney between 1947 and 1955 who just took artwork, full cell, totally intact, perfect pieces of artwork that you can buy. There's not that much stuff, but it's out there. So that's another way that you can get stuff from back then. Say Cinderella, some of Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland. I actually call that the Disney Secretaries era because there were a few cels that were removed from Disney by the secretaries who were working there, and sometimes you see clear nail polish on the back, right on top of the actual paint on the back of the cel. There's like a little kind of blippy clear nail polish look around the image of the cel because that's when they were painting the back. I guess they knew that clear nail polish would keep it from the paint from coming off. So sometimes you find cels from Cinderella that are like that. I'm like really grateful because I've never seen one like that that needed to be restored. So bless the secretary's heart at Disney. Yay team. So that's that. That's from about 1947 to 1955. And then when Disneyland opened, they had a little art corner at Disney, and they would trim the cel down to a smaller size, and then they would put a little mat around it, and then they had a seal on the back, and they would sell those cels as art at the art corner at Disney. Those were a lot less expensive. Every once in a while you can actually see them with the little semi-clear packaging that they bought the art in, which is kind of cool because it's usually got a little how much it costs, which was like 75 cents. Some art was a lot more money, but for the most part it was $75, $1.50, $3. Very inexpensive. One of the weird things is when people come in and there's two kids, you know, who have grown, and they got to go inside Disneyland and pick their favorite cel. One person said, "I love Lady and the Tramp. I'm going to get Lady and the Tramp sitting eating spaghetti." The other one says, "I love Ludwig von Drake. I'm going to get Ludwig von Drake." Well, that's cool. They picked their very favorite, but Lady and the Tramp, lots of money. Ludwig von Drake, not so much. So it just so happened one person was into one and one person was in the other. So they were sold for the same amount of money at the time, but later some things that were more popular became worth a lot more money than others. So it's just interesting when people come in with that kind of a situation in my gallery. So that's the Disneyland mat era. That's between 1955 and 1968. There actually is some art from movies that were released before 1955 that you can find in Disneyland mat setups. And that's like you can find Peter Pan artwork and some Alice in Wonderland. Every once in a while you'll see some stuff from there. And then one of the things you might want to bear in mind is the backgrounds are often stuck to the cel from that era. I know someone who has figured out a way, he's a chemist, to remove the cel from the background without damaging the paint or having all the paint come off of the background. But for the most part, it's inherent to the era for the cel to be stuck to the background from the Disneyland mat era. Also, you're going to find that there are some backgrounds that don't belong to the cels. So you'll find Jungle Book cels on 101 Dalmatian backgrounds. That's the most bizarre of the ones because you've got snow background and jungle cel. But you know, that's how they put it together then. It's inherent to the era. You want to keep all of that together if you can. So that's the Disneyland mat era. Then, starting in around 1979, they had Disney Fine Art cels. Those are full cels. A lot of times they're laminated, which is unfortunate because you might find some bubbling in that, but they're full cels. They have seals in the corner. There are different kinds of seals that they did use depending on the time period when you bought it from, but they have all seals directly from Disney, released, sold to galleries that were selling art as fine art animation starting in 1979. Now, there still is artwork from that era that they were selling from 1971, 73, and on up. So you'll see Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Robin Hood, Fox and the Hound, all of that stuff is sold as art on a full cel with seals. And so you'll have like Winnie the Pooh, which is 1966, or Jungle Book, which is 1967, sold as Disney Fine Art with the seal on it, and also sold from the Disneyland mat era. But for the most part, you're just going to want to make sure you're getting the kind of seal that corresponds with that era that they were selling art through Disney. There is some art that went through the back door at Disney. You're going to want to avoid I think, artwork that is sold from The Little Mermaid without seals on it. So that's what you've got, your Courvoisier setup, Disneyland Matte era, and the Disney Fine Art era.